Welcome back to another video. My name is Henrik and today we're going to be looking at the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT. This car is very powerful. You can see it is fairly winterous outside, so therefore it's not going to be we're not going to be able to drive this car in the most sporty way. However, we're still going to be looking at everything that the car offers. This car is going to set you back in Germany 77,300 euros. In our variant with the color that we have on here, which is Cyber Orange, it's going to cost an extra 1,200 euros, so 78,500 euros, and with the environmental bonus from Ford, 76,715 euros. Wow. Let's first of all talk a little bit about the engine of the car. So it has two electrical motors in here for an all-wheel drive system. It's going to produce 487 horsepower with 860 Newton meters, so quite a lot. One thing I got to say though, if you completely remove the Mustang thing out of this is an amazing electric car. So that's one thing you definitely got to consider. It's not a Mustang. It's completely not a Mustang. But it's going to provide you with an insane amount of power. We're going to do a quick 0 to 100 test with a Vmax of 200 kilometers an hour. And it's also going to get from 0 to 100 in claimed 4.4 seconds. So let's see if we can be able to reach that in the winter conditions. For the 0 to 100 test, we're going to go into the best setting when it comes to the sportiness of the car. So the most sportiest drive mode that you can get, which is going to be the Temperamentvoll, which is in German Temperamentvoll. You also have the Plus system here, which is grayed out. That's just going to be the best when it comes to track-focused driving. However, it's always been grayed out. I don't actually know how to activate it because it says it's only allowed to be on while you are on restricted roads and stuff like that. Let's quickly do a 0 to 100 test. It's going to be fairly slow, I think. So let's see. Definitely a lot of wheel spin. 5.26, claimed 4.4. So actually a little bit better than I was expecting. We did definitely have a little bit of wheel spin at the start. But yeah, in the summer you can definitely get it down, but especially the car, once it's over 100 kilometers an hour, 120, it takes ages to get up to that top speed of 200 kilometers. I think it's just made for American roads where, well, you're not going to be driving a lot more than 100 kilometers, but in Germany this car is just way too slow for the Autobahn, I think. But still, especially from those 0 to 50, it's fairly quick, especially if there wouldn't be wheel spin right now. I think this car would definitely be able to get those 4.4 seconds. So we did already previously look at the Mach-E in the normal variant with the rear-wheel drive system, but this thing is definitely a lot more sporty. If you look at the front, for instance, we have these nice lights in here, which I really do like because they also have like this standing out feature there, which makes them look pretty aggressive, and they look very nice at night as well. You got some more aerodynamic touches down here for some more airflow in there, and also a bigger spoiler, like a front splitter in there, which I really, really like. And the same as in the normal Mach-E, you also get some active aerodynamic in there. You do have like this fake grille up here as well, with the Mustang logo on there. So this looks like a honeycomb design that you have on most like combustion engine car, which definitely I like more than the normal Mach-E design, because the normal one just has this, well, it has the body color or the color of the car on here, and it just completely fills it up. Not the biggest fan of that, but this really does look nice. And the front, I really like the front. Obviously, I like it. On here we also have our 20-inch wheels. One thing you can also option again, apart from the color, is you can get these in black. 450 euros extra for that, but you can also see we have the Brembo brakes on here, which are quite big. We did already do a brake test on the normal Mach-E in the summer condition, which was 33 meters, so a really good value. With the Brembo brakes, I can imagine that's going to be a little bit better, but with all the snow and the cold temperature, it probably is not going to be the best. So we're going to see if we actually are doing one. If we do, let's cut to it now. Okay, actually a lot less than I expected, which is not bad at all. Let's see what we got. 42 meters, that's actually really good value. So obviously it's winter time. 42 in summertime would be a horrible value, but we got winter tires on here, we got wet roads, we got a temperature outside of 0 degrees. That's actually pretty decent value. One thing we did already take a look at is the range and also the speed, so we're going to cut to that in a second. But one thing I did want to point out real quick is the quality in here. If you look at this thing is not that perfectly covered up. You can also see it stands over a little bit, so wind flow is going to come in here and it's going to, well, it's not the best, and you can see just quality-wise not the greatest. But let's also see how quick the car charges, what the consumption is, and in general, the capabilities of that charging speed. So when it comes to the consumption, that's one of the most interesting things here, especially in the winter time. You can see right now we have 46% left and only a range of 118 kilometers left, which is definitely not a lot. and a little bit less than you might expect. When I picked up the car at 100%, I only got a value of 390 kilometers. Claimed is 490 up to 500. I don't think you're going to be able to reach that right now. Maybe that's also due to the fact that it was, well, driven a little bit more sporty when I got there. And the one thing in the wintertime is just going to eat a lot of that range is the climatization. If we, for instance, go into the value here, you can see this drive just alone, this was 0 to 100, so we're not going to look at that. But over the last 230 kilometers, 20% of that was from climatization. 28% or 28 kilowatts an hour usage, which is quite a lot. If we round it down 20%, so that's going to be around 5.6 kilowatts an hour just for your climatization, which is quite a lot. And 6% from the outside temperature, not that much. You might expect a little bit more when it comes to the winter time. But climatization is just going to be the biggest eater when it comes into that range. We did do a couple of tests as well. So we did do an Autobahn test in the wintertime. It was 4 degrees outside, 100 kilometers with no climatization one way. That was, I think, 22, 23 kilowatts an hour, right around there. And then the other way around was around 120, 130 with climatization. So basically a normal drive, we had around a 27 kilowatts an hour usage. If you're driving this in the summertime, you probably would be expecting the WLTP claimed consumption of around 21 kilowatts an hour, which is not bad, as you do have a very big battery in here with almost 91 kilowatts an hour usage that you can have, which is quite a lot. Let's also see what we got from charging. So claimed is a range, or claimed is from 10 to 80% in around 45 minutes, because it only loads at 150 kilowatts, which is not that great. If you look at what we got, we started at around 30-something%. Currently it's at 36 because it's above that 80%. And you can see loading curves went up to 126.3, and then it slowly went down. It was fairly smooth at around 82 kilowatts, and then it went down, and now we're down there somewhere at around 36. So you can see it took us a total of 39 minutes to get from around, I think it was 27% up to around 80%. So not too bad. If you obviously are below that, if you drove a little bit and then you're that 10%, you're obviously going to be able to get that 45 most of the times, as we did on the Audi e-tron, for instance. But that was the 800 volt technology, but still not a bad value. So you are going to be able to charge up fairly quickly and then get another 400 kilometers of range in there. Let's also talk about the size of the car. First of all, the car is going to weigh in at 2.3 tons or 2,273 kilograms. So a very heavy car. The car is also 4 meters and 74 long. It's going to be 1.88 meter wide without the side mirrors, and also 1.61 meter when it comes to the height of the car. I did read online it's supposed to be 13 centimeters of ground clearance. This looks like 25, something like that, so a lot more. Maybe I just wrote down the wrong value on there. We also have a 360-degree camera system in here, so that means we also have cameras down here, and it's also going to be foldable side mirrors. We got the same system in the normal Mach-E, where you have the button on here. I don't have the key, but hopefully it works for close enough. There you go. You press on it, and it's going to open, and you also have a keypad down there, so you can plug anything in there, so you have your own key code in there, if you forget, for instance, your key. You also down here have, well, not down here, back here, you have tinted out rear windows. Generally, not that much change when it comes to the side and also the back. Again, you can see we have those red calipers on there, which looks pretty cool. When it comes to the design on the back, we got the typical Mustang lights on here, which not in Germany don't have that like little left function, so it's just one. I think on the left here it's going to be that orange light. But in general, we also have the GT logo on here, and I'm sorry for it being a little bit dirty. That's obviously due to the fact that it's winter and it's kind of hard to clean. But one thing I really don't like about this car is, for instance, the way you open the trunk, because you have to put down here and you can see everything gets dirty down here. Then sometimes you don't know exactly, okay, where was the button, and then you find it and then you press on it. A little bit unfortunate. When you look at the storage space in here, you have quite a good amount, 402 liters up to 1,420 if you fold over the back seats. And we also have some more storage space down here where you can put your cables in there. But if you actually want more space, you can also go on the front where you have a Frunk, where you get a total of 100 extra liters of storage space. This is also called the Ford Mega Box, and you can see lots of space in here, cables in there. You can probably put a luggage in here, so if you put like a suitcase sideways, you can definitely put that on there, like a carry-on package, carry-on suitcase, carry-on luggage, whatever they're called. You can definitely put that in there, so plenty of space. And you can also see up here we have the Mustang logo. Again, it's not a Mustang in my opinion, but well, it's still a good electric car. I'm going to keep pointing that out because it is a good electric car, but the name Mustang just completely throws it off. And let's talk a little bit about the interior first of all in the car. You do have a couple of things that well, I would have maybe liked to see a little bit different compared to the normal Mach-E. We did already test with a normal Mach-E, so if you do want to see that video, you can definitely check it out in the top right corner there. But there's, for instance, no GT logo anywhere on here in the interior apart from the center console, which is the only thing where you actually have a GT logo on there. Which is like, okay, come on. I'm already paying 77,000 euros for this car, and then I'm only getting one GT logo to remind me. Everything else basically looks the same. You do have like this little touch in here, which looks pretty cool, and also it feels pretty good. Quality-wise, everything's good. Everywhere you touch is fairly decent, apart from obviously down there, but that's... most cars don't have good quality on there in this price range. Oh, jeez. Okay. Which don't have good quality in that price range, but for instance here you have like this nice suede like material in there. You have some more good quality up here. B&O sound system also sounds fairly decent. It's not the best. It doesn't sound too great. It doesn't sound too bad. I mean, it's okay. Steering wheel is basically the same as in the Mach-E. You do have a little bit of ambient lighting in here. These also light up at night, for instance. These buttons in here. You do have an ambient lighting on the side, but nothing in the back. You also have this digital cockpit, which is a little bit different to the other one in comparison, because you have that temperamental, or I don't know what it's called in English, but it's temperamentvoll in German, which looks a little bit different. And you also have that in plus mode, which you can only use if you're driving, for instance, on a racing track or on a closed course, which is just the most powerful version of it. You do also have the layout in here, which I really do like. This infotainment display, I already did like it a lot on the Mach-E, the normal one that we had, and it's the same in here. But one thing I didn't actually realize last time is, for instance, if you, this knob, it has like this vibrating touch to it, and it feels really, really well integrated. It might look a little bit funky, but this thing has a good amount of controls to it. For instance, if you want to change the climate control, you can just press on here and you can change that as well, which is really, really nice. And so that's a good idea because my bum is really cold. I really like that control, and in general, touch and system in here is also good. You have you have Apple Auto and Android Auto. No, wait. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly, both of those integrated in here. You also have some wireless charging space down here with a couple of cup holders down there, and a good amount of space down here as well, where you can also have a 12 volt, and you can put some stuff in here, and you can also cover that up, and it is green in front of me. And in the back, you also got plenty of space and a good seating quality in there as well, with a climate control on the bottom, but that's also not adjustable when it comes to the temperature. When it comes to the riding quality, it's definitely a little bit harsher than the normal Mach-E because of this suspension, which is very sporty. You can definitely feel that. I can feel every bump in here. Let's go over this one. Okay, that was a very smooth one. But in here, definitely, the ride quality is going to be a lot more harsh than the normal Mach-E. Which still doesn't, well, it's not bad, but it's obviously, if you're using this as a daily, it might get a little bit unfortunate after a little bit of a time. If you're driving in the city here, you can... Okay, you can also see it's also adjustable on the passenger side, and that thing moves up fairly well. If you're driving in the city, the turning radius in here is also fairly decent, 11.6 meters, not too high, but also not too low. Which is going to allow you to do a little bit more maneuverability. Parking space also fairly decent. You do have a rear view camera, which obviously isn't, well, it's not obviously, but it's not the greatest quality. Let's actually check that out here for a second. So if we quickly go into reverse, you can see that thing is just going to be wet all the time. You have the 360-degree camera, which also gets fairly wet. So it's not the best quality, which is a little bit unfortunate. If you go in here, you can also see sensors on the back, and you also have a little bit of a bigger camera. Okay. Junge, was ist denn los bei dir?
Ich sehe es, ja.
And the other thing that you gotta watch out for is, because you do have these 20-inch alloy wheels, those are gonna be able to, well, if you can curb them fairly easily. So if you're parking in some smaller spaces, definitely gotta watch out for that. And you don't also have a camera which shows you how close you are to the curb, with a camera that shows down below, which is a little bit unfortunate, a little bit nice, especially with those 20-inch alloy wheels. And when it comes to the assistant features, one thing I am going to talk, or I'm going to cut here to a second, is the BlueCruise, which is new in the Ford Mustang Mach-E, which is also the first autonomous level 2 plus car in Germany, or in the whole of Europe, I think, actually, that is allowed by the state. But in here you also have quite a lot of features for adaptive cruise control. You have lane assist, or lane centralization as well. You have a limiter. You also have, well, you don't have a heads-up display. That would have been a little bit nice. Blind spot assistance, you have that. And you also have the rear view camera and 360-degree camera that we already talked about. But let's actually quickly check out that BlueCruise, because that is a really, really nice thing. Basically what this does is it allows you to take your hands completely off the car of the car. Wow, that would be insane. Of the steering wheel for however long you want until BlueCruise isn't activated anymore, because that's autonomous driving level 2+. So this is the first in Europe that actually works, and it works up to 130 kilometers an hour, and it works on 95% of the autobahns. If you buy the car, this comes with every new Ford Mustang, basically Mustang Mach-E. But it's going to be a test phase of 90 days, and afterwards you're going to be having to pay, I think, around $24.99 per month, which is one of those paywalls which I'm not the biggest fan of. But it does actually work wonders. I drove it from Cologne to Kassel, and it took a total of, well, I was behind the steering wheel for like 30 minutes, because you can do this. And in the meantime, I can talk to you, I can move my hands, I can edit a video. Obviously you can't do that, but it works really nicely. And obviously if you want to change lanes, you're not going to be able to do that with the BlueCruise. You're going to have to indicate, move to the left, and it's going to pick up fairly quickly again. Okay, I'm on the lane again, so let me put BlueCruise on again. So what is my final verdict on the car? Well, the car, I really like the optics of it, of the GT variant. Obviously going to cost you quite a lot with that 77,000 euros. But the range is also fairly good. Obviously, if you want the most range, you're going to have to get the one with the rear wheel drive. That's going to give you quite a good amount of range. But in here you can see this car is, well, it's fairly fun to drive. If you saw in the video, it does obviously doesn't have that greatest power once you're getting above that 130. After then up to its top speed, it really does take a long time. It doesn't feel like it has 487 horsepower, but especially as a low range, you can drift this car easily. You can have a lot of fun with it. You can accelerate it quite quickly, and in my opinion, it just looks fairly decent. Obviously, it doesn't have a V8 in it, so if you completely just remove the fact that it's called a Mustang, this would be a very, very good, excellent electric car, because it has a lot of purpose. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.